Madison Square Garden, 1957. Sugar Ray Robinson defending his world middleweight crown in action here against Gene Fullmer. And Gene Fullmer comes into this contest at the age of 26 with 37 wins, 20 by knockout, 3 defeats. And Sugar Ray Robinson's record is incredible. 139 wins, 86 by knockout, just 4 defeats and 2 draws in 145 outings. 36 years of age, former welterweight champion. And in between winning a middleweight title, he tried for the light heavyweight championship against Joey Maxim. He would have won it but for the heat. And this is his second defense of the middleweight title and his third reign as middleweight champion. Terrific fighter. So Gene Fullmer then, a real handful, rugged, known as the Cyclone for obvious reasons. Comes from West Jordan in Utah. And Sugar Ray Robinson's real name, Walker Smith Jr. Lives in Harlem in New York. Born in Georgia. "15 rounds, this one is scheduled for." A very aggressive start here from Gene Fullmer, as was anticipated. Sugar Ray Robinson, 10 years older. Will it make much of a difference? And Fullmer's still very aggressive. So at the end of round 1, and it's probably Fullmer's. Round 2, Gene Fullmer, Sugar Ray Robinson, world middleweight title. Robinson making the second defense of the title, and this is third reign. He's had some cracking wins on the way. Wins over Carl Bobo Olsen, Rocky Castellani. He was beaten by Ralph Tiger Jones. And of course, Joey Maxim, up at light heavyweight. Other names worth a mention, Rocky Graziano. You may also remember that he was beaten by Randolph Turpin in his second reign as middleweight champion, and then was terribly badly cut in the return with Turpin, but pulled it all out to win in the 10th round. Fought Jake LaMotta on 6 occasions. LaMotta the first man to beat Sugar Ray Robinson. Other cracking wins include over Kid Gavilan on 2 occasions, the great Cuban fighter. Of course, the terrific featherweight, lightweight and welterweight champion of the world, Henry Armstrong, another one of Robinson's victims. Including 2 wins over Fritzy Zivic. So some fantastic form on the Robinson record, and Gene Fullmer, well, he needs to raise his game to beat him here. And interestingly, Gene Fullmer had a real tough fight with Gil Turner man he'd beaten on 2 subsequent occasions, but Turner did beat him the first time they met. Also posted good wins over Paul Pender and Peter Muller. Sugar Ray Robinson successful in his last 7 fights, coming into this one. Gene Fullmer successful in his last 5. Into round 3 then, Sugar Ray Robinson. Well, he's not had the sweetest of times so far here against Gene Fullmer. Robinson, a very smart, upright boxer, and he knows all about becoming a world champion. Undefeated welterweight champion. This is his 3rd reign as middleweight champion of the world, and this is his 2nd defence of the title. And Fullmer has a reputation of being a real tough guy. The snappiest or the greatest I've seen Robinson perform so far. Obviously not willing to overcommit himself and make a mistake here, leave himself vulnerable to Fullmer. And at 36 years of age, Robinson doesn't want to overextend himself either, giving away 10 years here to the younger man. Robinson going forward there, but getting tied up by Fullmer on the inside. Incidentally, Gene Fullmer, 5 feet 8 inches tall. Sugar Ray, 5'11". But Fullmer knows exactly how to use that lack of height and reach. Interesting fact, despite his lack of height, Gene Fullmer has got a 2-inch reach advantage over Robinson, which means he's got longer arms. Round 4 then, and a jaded-looking Sugar Ray goes back to the corner at the end of round 3, and he didn't look in the mood for this assignment. Let's take nothing away from Gene Fullmer, using his skills to the best of his ability. such an uncompromising fighter, Fullmer. Even with a master boxer like Robinson, he still gets some very decent work done. When you consider that Robinson has fought 145 times as a pro, Fullmer just 40, massive difference between them. Sugar Ray still being put under pressure here by Fullmer. Robinson yet to make an impact on this contest. Everything so far has suited Fullmer far better. And it's the threat really that Robinson appears to be wary of. And the old adage once again, the boxer will always beat the fighter, not necessarily true. So round 5, and Robinson needs to get his act together here, because Gene Fullmer so far has had slightly the better of things. Robinson, a master boxer in the white shorts, but what's his frame of mind like? This is not the best I've ever seen it. Of course, this is the biggest night in Fullmer's career, up against the greatest fighter for a genuinely great championship, the world middleweight title. Robinson appears to be having trouble here with Fullmer's style. He's a very quiet man until he gets into punching range, and then he can be very dangerous. Referee for this one, Ruby Goldstein. Ruby Goldstein, our referee, will also score this with two ringside judges, Harold Barnes and Frank Forbes. round 6, at the end of round 5 there you saw Robinson give himself a look that meant he was terribly unhappy at the way things were going at the moment. Sometimes you can have a bad day at the office, and Robinson looks like he's having one of those. Let's not take anything away from Gene Fullmer. But Sugar Ray Robinson is not the man we've seen. He's out of sorts for some reason. Ordinarily he'd box the ears off Gene Fullmer. Fullmer now really beginning to up the pace here. And things have been tough enough for Robinson as it is. Both men wearing horsehair-filled 8-ounce boxing gloves. Compromising at times, this one. Stumble there from these two. And Robinson from number 36 keeps himself in great shape. We're approaching the halfway point in this fight, and Gene Fullmer looks like he's got this one pretty much sewn up at the moment. But of course there's still a long way to go. Sugar Ray has certainly not been himself in this particular match. And there's that crude, uncompromising element about Fullmer's work. But there's a spark missing from Sugar Ray's here. He looks lethargic and short of ideas. And that may be down, of course, to the opponent. Otherwise, it could just be his own frame of mind. Both men, of course, knew what to expect coming into this. And a very awkward moment there for Robinson. Well, he's getting a count here from Ruby Goldstein, although it looked like he got pushed through the ropes. So another bad moment for Robinson. furious barrage there from both lads. And Robinson just needs a break here. He needs to get that bit of success that he can build upon. Left hook there for Robinson. Good punch. So at last, Sugar Ray has got his act together here, despite taking account. And into round 8 we go. And Gene Fullmer still got a pretty healthy lead at this stage. We've gone past the halfway point. And Sugar Ray just had a decent 7th despite taking account from Ruby Goldstein when he got pushed out of the ropes by Fullmer. Sugar Ray has not created a great deal of opportunities for himself in this. Fullmer has generally been the busier of the two. And it's worth remembering that Sugar Ray Robinson, former welterweight champion of the world, undefeated, won the middleweight title, and he went up to the light heavyweight division to try and win that one. And Joe Maxim, and would have done had the heat not got to him. In fact, it was so hot the referee had to be replaced on that occasion. And of course back down to win the middleweight title for the 3rd time, and this is his 2nd defence. So the early rounds were not good for Sugar Ray. His middle rounds have turned out to be better, slightly. You give Fullmer a target of any sort and he'll try and hit it. He hasn't got the quality, of course, that Robinson has. He's got bags of fighting heart. As we come out for round 9 then, Gene Fullmer significantly went back to his corner with his head high. Robinson had his dropped. So it's quite clear to tell where the confidence lies here. So the reigning and defending middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Robinson, has got some ground to make up here against a very spirited challenger in Gene Fullmer. And surely Fullmer can't have in his wildest dreams imagined he'd be in this position. And having got here, of course, to be in the lead. Well, Fullmer matching Robinson there for speed. Sadly though, Robinson can't match Fullmer for desire. It's a massive aspect. I feel he's underrated Fullmer's challenge here. Oh, nice bit of work there from Robinson. But Fullmer using the cross-arm guard and doesn't come to much harm. Once again, middle round this for Robinson. So into round 10. And Gene Fullmer still has a lead here, but Robinson has picked up a few rounds in the mid section of the fight. He may well have won 2 of the last 3. And this is not the fittest I've ever seen Sugar Ray Robinson, either mentally or physically. As I say, I suspect he's underrated Gene Fullmer. Robinson still doesn't seem to be able to make use of that wonderful, slippery, skillful attitude he has. He hasn't really stood his ground here and flicked out the jab and caught Gene Fullmer coming in. The combinations have by and large been missing. And so, of course, is the power. Well, Sugar Ray there hanging on. Not because he's been hurt, but because he's run out of ideas. As Gene Fullmer still whacks away, wipes the blood from his nose. A hotly contested round, this one. And despite a lot of holding between the pair of them, Robinson might just be getting the slightest of edges here. Or maybe just clicked into gear now. Round 11 of the scheduled 15, reigning defending world middleweight champion Sugar Ray Robinson in action against Gene Fullmer, who's done well. Or is it a case of Robinson has done badly? His punches have had scant effect on Fullmer. 1 count so far, and that went against Sugar Ray when he was bundled out of the ropes by Fullmer, but the referee Goldstein took it up. Nice left hook there from Robinson a moment ago. And Gene Fullmer using that extra 10 years he has in youth to very good effect here. Sugar Ray are pro since 1940, and Fullmer didn't turn pro until 1951. And that's about right, considering he's 10 years younger. So into round 12 of what's not been the greatest world title fight that Sugar Ray has ever had in his career. And Gene Fullmer has taken full advantage here of what appeared to be lapses in concentration by Robinson. Or maybe I'm not giving full credit to Gene Fullmer. True, he's crude, he's strong, and he's committed. But he cannot match Sugar Ray Robinson in any department when Sugar Ray gets it right. Referee and two judges will score this. And Gene Fullmer rarely instigates an attack, you may notice, unless they're very close together. He leaves that to Robinson, and then of course he takes advantage if Sugar Ray makes a mistake. He's, in this particular contest, almost an out-and-out counter-puncher. Robinson could of course elect not to instigate the attacks, but then it would probably be a no fight. Yep, you'll see Gene Fullmer landing very, very few straight lefts. That's of course the building block of boxing. He's an uncompromising slugger, and not the boxer that Sugar Ray is, or at least was. Well, the bowler punch there from Robinson a moment ago didn't land on target. Well, as we come out for round 13, some of these rounds are getting tough to score. Into the last 3 we go. The challenger for the world middleweight title, Gene Fullmer, in the black shorts against the reigning champion in this, his second defence in his third reign as a middleweight champion of the world, the former undefeated welterweight champion Sugar Ray Robinson. And it's not been a great night for Sugar Ray. Yep, Sugar Ray looks like he lacks fitness and ideas. When you consider some of the men he's beaten, and it's quite a surprise. Beat Fritzy Zivic on a couple of occasions, Jake LaMotta, who fought 6 times, beat him 5 out of 6. Henry Armstrong, Kid Gavilan, Randolph Turpin, Carl Bubba Olsen, Rocky Graziano, Ralph Tiger Jones, Joey Maxim, and of course Rocky Castellani. I mean, some great names, uncompromising sorts as well. Don't forget, for Fullmer, well, likes of Gil Turner, beat him twice but did get beaten by Turner on one occasion. Paul Pender, Peter Muller, good names. They don't compare with what Robinson has done. For me, Fullmer is clearly ahead here. Although I suppose it depends on your interpretation of how the rounds have gone. Well, he's trying exceptionally hard. This looks more like a case of Robinson giving away the title rather than Fullmer winning it. There is a subtle difference, of course, between the two. Which is, of course, not to decry Fullmer's effort, which has been very good. But Robinson lacks sparkle here. Penultimate round, round 14. Well, Sugar may need the knockout to win this one now. He's certainly picked up since the halfway point. But this would mean so much to Fullmer. What a huge moment this is in the career of Gene Fullmer. Lands a right there, staggers Robinson. Pro for just 6 years, Fullmer. Could he have dreamed of facing the mighty Sugar Ray for the world middleweight title when he turned pro back in 1951? Once again, these thudding overarm punches from Fullmer with the right hand. And there's blood coursing down the side now of Robinson's left eye. That won't bother a man with his kind of class. But the qualities we associate with Sugar Ray Robinson have been missing here. Well, inside of the glove work there being done by Fullmer. Make that cut worse. He's got a cut too on the right eye. So something of a bloodbath now has developed between these two. Could this be the momentum that Sugar Ray needs to pull out a corker? He just can't seem to get the distance right. Or is the simple fact that Fullmer is getting it more right more often? 15th and final round then, and Sugar Ray Robinson on the verge of losing his middleweight crown here to Gene Fullmer. And unless Robinson can effect a knockout, this middleweight title belt is on its way to Utah in the very capable hands of Gene Fullmer. But of course the big question has got to be, how long will he keep it? Once again, that terrific cross-arm guard employed by Gene Fullmer, and Robinson is really going for it here in the last round, but time is very much against him. The blood still flows from that left eye. The blood still flows from Fullmer's right eye. Well, looks like we could be on the verge of an upset here, and a big upset it would be as well. Gene Fullmer having fight number 38. Make that fight number 41. Looking for his 38 victory here. He's already won 37 against 3 losses and scored 20 knockouts. And Sugar Ray has got an incredible record. 139 wins, 86 inside the limit. Just 4 losses and 2 draws and 145 fights. He's 10 years older at 36. But his current reign as world middleweight champion looks like it's about to come to an end here. So Madison Square Garden looks like it's the home of the big upset here. Well, there you are, the end of 15 rounds of boxing. And here's the score.
Referee Ruby Goldstein scores at 8-5, 2 even, favor of Fullmer. Judge Frank Forbes, 10-5, favor of Fullmer. Harold Barnes, 9-7. to 6, favour of Fullmer. Winner by unanimous decision, and the new middleweight champion of the world, Fullmer.